Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters qualifier for Shenzhen here in Europe. As we now get into our final series of the day, and it is going to be between Liquid Snute and ShoWTimE, who has recently joined Imaginary Gaming, to try and battle for that second spot there. And we saw that series for Snute versus ShoWTimE before, and ShoWTimE did amazingly. Now, Snute, once again, is in yet another qualifying game.
Yes, he is.
There you go.
I want to make a really bad pun when it comes to imaginary gaming.
Yeah.
Like, did it actually happen, James? Or did you imagine it? Oh, it should be a really fun series. These are two players that have quite a bit of history with each other as well. I've casted a couple of their series. They played against each other in WCS Season 1. Back then, Snute was able to win, but that was the old Swarmos. When they played against each other again in the Ding It Invitational, the new Swarmos didn't prove to be as strong, as in particular in this matchup, as ShoWTimE won that one convincingly 2-0, and that is the last time they played. Let's just go ahead and hop into our final series of the day. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the Intel Extreme Masters coverage so far. We've had an absolute blast bringing you guys these games, and I think this is going to be a cracker, James.
A cracker, an absolute cracker. You're channeling your inner Red Eye. It's brilliant. I love it.
I literally cannot contain myself.
Well, let's get into it. As we have spawning up to the north, we have our blue Zerg representing Team Liquid in colors. It is Snute. Down to the south, we have our red Protoss, who didn't have the easiest time getting into WCS this season round, but is looking to kind of get retribution here. It is ShoWTimE.
Yeah, I mean, that was a series that I think we spoke about it quite often, and I think we kind of just have to let it go. But for the people who did forget, ShoWTimE went out in the round of, not in the round off, in Challenger against Elazen. That was a big upset, and especially the way that the games played out, it just didn't look like we were watching one of the best Protoss players in Europe. He looked kind of uninspiring, went for silly builds. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. A lot of cannon rushes. Yeah. And you just looked at those games, you're like, man, ShoWTimE, you're so much better than this. Like, you don't even have to do builds like this. And if you do them, at least execute them the way that they're supposed to be executed.
Yeah.
He laser handled everything that ShoWTimE threw at him perfectly fine, and he didn't really break a sweat, and he won that series convincingly. But I really think that was just an off day for ShoWTimE. We know that he's better than that. We've seen him play some of the best StarCraft out there when it comes to European Protosses, and I think this is going to be a really good series. There was a lot on the line, of course, for Snute as well, as Snute wants to redeem himself after that very poor Season 2 of WCS for him as well. Both players basically having a disappointing Season 2.
Yeah, it's very important that both of them would rack up extra points, because actually, you know, how they did in Season 1, they both got quite a significant chunk of points, especially ShoWTimE, who was arguably one of the entire surprises of the whole tournament. Now, though, oh dear me, all right, here we go. I forgot that we were on Varney Research Station, and this is what people like Snute like to do here, just gold bases, gold bases, gold bases.
Yeah, I really wonder how ShoWTimE is going to approach this. The other day I actually played against a Zerg who did this, and obviously that Zerg that I played was nowhere near Snute's level, so I'm not going to pretend that I had it figured out. But a lot of Protoss players like to drop a very quick Stargate against something like this, then open up with an Oracle, and that Oracle will do quite some damage. Kind of like this crazy Chinese Protoss player, what was his name again? In WCS, that made 4 Oracles on this map against Red.
Was it Ionsu? Oh,
no,
he's
Zerg. Mystery, yeah.
Mystery.
Yeah, because he was a mystery and we didn't know how he was going to play. Oh my god, we're like the funniest casters in the business, James. That's why we still got a job. Just kidding. He made like a bunch of oracles, which was very surprising and obviously worked because it was a surprise effect. But I think a single oracle can be quite good as well, because it's unlikely that the Zerg will have 3 Spore Crawlers in place by the time that the first Oracle arrives, especially if you distract him early game with maybe a Zealot or a Stalker or maybe a quick Mothership Core. But ShoWTimE might just take a completely different approach to it. It's very weird wall-up, by the way.
Yeah, this is a gap.
Yep.
This huge thing is definitely a gap.
Yeah.
So, weird, but...
Like, I feel like it's, unless he just wants to build a gateway on top of the Cybercore, because he feels that it's much more easy to lose that building than it is to lose the other one, and now at least his Cybercore will be safe. And I guess he scouted, and he knows that there won't be early circlings and stuff. I guess if he would have scouted quick speed, then he would have put that Cybercore a little bit up north. And now he's just like, well, at least I'm never going to lose my core. It is going to be a Stargate. So I was onto something, James.
Yep. Looks as if it might do something as well, depending on how much is really reinforcing at this location. First Queen pops out.
The problem I have with this wall-off right now is that these Zerglings can actually just ignore the Stalker, and if all 4 links just run up this ramp, there's a very good chance he spots it. And if he spots the Stargate, I don't really think that these Oracles will be able to do a whole lot of damage. All right, there we go.
So, yeah, the gateway finally comes in. I think the thing is that as a Protoss, if you don't have to wall it off, you don't really want to, right? Whoa!
Oh! Happy
Okay.
circling.
Okay, Stalker's going to come back. I think it was baited by the... maybe he was trying to like zone out an Overlord that would have tried to come in to see the Stargate eventually with the Stalker.
No Spore Crawlers just yet for Snute. Of course, like a lot of people probably think like, well, why wouldn't Snute just build some Spore Crawlers right now? Isn't it obvious that there's going to be a Stargate? That is semi-obvious, but it's not 100% sure. And if you make 3 Spore Crawlers and suddenly you're being 4 or 5 gated, you're going to hate your life for making those 3 Spore Crawlers, because those Spore Crawlers could have been drones, could have been something else. So it's really hard to just blindly build 3 Spores. I do think Snute is going to throw one down real soon, but his Oracle is going to do some work. There are 2 Queens there, though, so that's going to help him a little bit. But I still think if he flies in from the right direction, I think he's going to be able to get 4 or 5 drone kills easily.
Yep, shouldn't be able to fend it off too easily, you're right. The Queens are already positioning themselves behind the mineral line there, though. But he still finds some juicy pickings. As he'll get himself 3.
Yeah. I expected a little more. A very good job by Snute having 2 Queens there. If he has a single Queen there, he's going to end up losing 7 or 8 drones. But 2 Queens obviously make his life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Where did that second Queen even come from? Or did they both come from this hatchery?
Both made here. Both made here. Everything else was, well...
never left their hometown.
Where is this Queen, actually? Well, they... I mean, okay, but that's not exactly the Queen we were talking about.
No, are you sure, James?
Pretty sure. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
Yeah, 5 roaches on the way already. If I was ShoWTimE and I would spot this, I think you want to Chrono Boost out of Void Ray as quick as possible. He's getting a Twilight Council as well. He doesn't spot it yet. He does spot... Oh, did he see the roach one? No, he didn't. He did spot that there is still no layer. Now, of course, there are 3 hatcheries to check that can potentially morph into a layer. But these roaches, they will pose a very serious threat to ShoWTimE trying to go up to 3 bases. He really needs a Void Ray, I feel.
Yeah, Twilight Council is on the way behind this to eventually go up to Blink and stuff, so you'll have the Sentry Blink base that you normally see on a kind of Protoss
Okay, he's
cake,
going to spot the first roach. He doesn't really know how many roaches this is. Come on, make a Void Ray, ShoWTimE. A single Void Ray can make your life so much easier.
And it does begin, so it's got +1 weapons on the way as well, which will eventually help him out, but at the same time, these units are being quite annoying.
I actually think ShoWTimE is going to be more than fine over here. Snute is really committing to this. He's making 18 more links, but with this Nexus almost finishing up, he can soon cast Photon Overcharge. The cannon did quite a bit of damage. Here is Photon Overcharge. I think he's going to be able to keep this Nexus alive.
Yeah.
And that should put him in an okay position. Of course, there is still a gold base, so it's not like this game is over by any means. But I'd be very happy if I was ShoWTimE. Did he cancel the Ray or did it finish? No, it finished, right?
The Void Ray?
Yeah,
I think it finished. Yeah. It was just chilling out, and now it's up here, and now it will be totally fine in defending anything that does come along. But thing is that +2, he bought time for +2 and Blink to begin, so he's going to have a really, really good little ground army, to be honest with you, once especially all this is walled off and completely impenetrable.
Yeah, this is not nice for Snute, though, because any Zerg will attest to the fact that if you make this many units, you want to get some serious work done. He did force out a Void Ray, he did get a pylon, he get a cannon, but that is not what you want. Now, of course, the good news for Snute is that he saved the majority of the units. So all of these units are not utterly useless right now, and the robotics facility is very late, so roaches can still do some serious work. Snute is just going to go absolute ham on Roachling, Zergling over here. Oh man, that Void Ray! What a useful Void Ray!
So worth it.
The best Void Ray I've seen in a long time in competitive SC2.
So much damage done. So much damage. So let's see now how he's going to fend off the infestors that are on the way. Actually, he's doing this again. He keeps doing this. Making the 2 or 3 infestors without pathogen glands to transition forwards as well. And I think he's got enough room in this game to do it, definitely.
He's already going up to Hive as well, so I guess he just wants to rush up the Ultras as quick as possible.
Yeah.
It's getting scouted. I really like ShoWTimE's position, to be honest. I don't think that Snute can buy enough time to just rush up to Ultras like this when he has never really done anything to slow ShoWTimE down. Like, he has tried, but he failed. And normally when you fail, then you know, your mid phase is going to be a little bit harder, so I don't think you can just rush up to Ultras like this. I love the Warp Prism, so he doesn't have to worry on a pylon, you know, being his only reinforcements point. I think this attack that ShoWTimE is about to make is going to be very powerful, it's going to hit very hard, and, you know, unless Snute hits Miracle Fungals on the sentries, I think Snute is in kind of a difficult position over here.
Well, if the engagement were to go down the right-hand side, then I'd totally favor Snute, but over here, not so much. There's a big, big gap that ShoWTimE can possibly exploit down this left-hand side.
And look at this, 2-2 upgrades starting now as well. Snute has been investing a lot in infrastructure, in upgrades, in buildings, additional hatcheries, but he doesn't really have a whole lot of units. ShoWTimE already starts up at first Immortal. He's getting charged as well, but I would really love to see him actually commit properly to the attack that he was showing us he at least wanted to make.
Yeah, down the left-hand side looks pretty strong. But whoa, these Ruches and Lings actually flood on in. If two could even get to the back, that'd be nice. But only one actually manages to get on around, thanks to that cannon the SimCity created here by ShoWTimE.
Yeah, there's no cannon over there, so if there was Burrow, that would have been very unfortunate. The War Prism with Zealots actually doing some work in the pocket expand over there from Snute. That's the base that Snute normally doesn't take, and now Snute is once again saying, this is why I don't take that base. The Stalker Ball here is not as big as I thought it was going to be. Fungal would be magnificent. He does get a majority of those sentries, so that's very nice.
And forces the recall on back.
Wow, those Roaches stay alive for a long time.
Cannot be sticking around for too long. Those Zealots still in this mineral line, though, or at least at this base. Trying to kill off what they can. It's going to be very, very close.
Is he going to get it? I think he's going to get it.
No, no,
yes,
no,
yes,
no,
yes.
No.
Oh my god. How much HP?
What?
1. You're kidding. That's ridiculous.
Perfect.
And this is why I retired from gambling.
You got beat by a gambling noob. Sorry, man. I never gamble.
Can't win a bet if my life depends on it. Now it even transitions into SC2.
That was amazing. Well, okay, somehow, someway, Snute got very lucky in saving that hatchery.
Yeah, that actually makes a really big difference because he didn't have another fourth base. Of course, you know, this hatch is still very low on HP, so it's not like he's never going to die because there's a good chance that War Prism is going to come back, drop some Zealots, and then still work on it. But of course, Snute knows that as well. And sometimes as a Protoss, even when you know a building is very low on HP, don't get too, you know, tunnel visioned on killing that hatch. Because at a certain point, you're going to throw away 7, 8, 9, 10 Zealots. You're losing 1,000 minerals, and you're still not going to get it because there will always be a few queens and whatnot. The Fleet Beacon already going down, already worried about those potential Broodlords.
Yeah, sees the Spire next to the Ultralisk Cavern, has to be careful. He knows that Stu is more than willing to try and go for those kinds of transitions.
he wants it hatchery so bad.
So
he's going to distract. He's going to drop like 2 Zealots here, and then he's going to drop the other 2 in the pocket expand.
So hungry for it. The 3 Queens have something to say about that.
There's a fight going on the left bottom side of the map as the armies engage a little bit.
A bit of a storm by the looks of things. So they weathered for the most part, though. And this War Prism has to be very careful.
Man, he's already getting +1 on the air weapons, and now he's even getting a second Stargate already.
Wow. He's really prepared. Across 3 bases, can you be this prepared, though?
Yeah, that's actually something that I'm starting to wonder about right now. Because if I was ShoWTimE, I would, or excuse me, if I was Snute, I would never even make Broodlords at this point. I'd be like, ha, sitting on 2 Stargates and an extra, you know, a +1 upgrade and a Fleet Beacon. That's a pretty expensive investment. What if we just fight with Ultras? I mean, the problem is, though, it's really hard to engage. Oh, feedbacks do land. Blinding Clouds will go down. Those Blinding Clouds are quite reasonable. But I don't feel that these Ultras are, you know, in the right amount of numbers. Well,
he anticipated how many storms his opponent would have. Didn't bring the Lings in until all the storms were gone. And not even that, but also the Archons having to morph in. And this is just a crushing. He's just plowing up against this. I don't know if it's going to be super cost effective here for him, but inside the mineral lines.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's so nice for Snute that he was able to get a couple of units in pretty much all of these bases. And Zerglings with upgrades, they just ravage probes. And this Nexus is going to die. This time it will die, Claras. And I feel now it was completely worth it. And at the same time, this War Prism was not able to kill. So now I kind of feel that ShoWTimE is in a very hard position where he's like, oh man, like now I just got to sort of attack, right, or something. He lost a lot of workers over there. And he's still sitting on that +1 upgrade that I would cancel. Like ShoWTimE, you're broke as a joke right now. You cannot be investing in air upgrades when, first of all, there's no air on the map.
Yep.
And secondly, you're like less than a 2-base Protoss right now.
I mean, where were the Stargates? They're here, so he knows that there's potential.
And he even sold the Fleet Beacon as well, so there's no way in hell that Snute is going to make Broodlords.
Yeah, no way. And it doesn't even need to. I mean, with 7 Ultralisks on the way, how is this army supposed to compete against it?
Yeah, he's just going to do the same thing all over again. Like, I was really worried at first about that engagement, and of course, Blinding Clouds made it a little more possible. But even then, I was worried. But the fact that Snute was able to get units into the main base, I think that changed everything.
Yeah, yeah. He killed off quite a lot of workers. He ravaged those mineral lines pretty quickly. Infestors are at the back now.
And of course, he forced ShoWTimE to warp units into the main base, you know, be distracted and not be able to focus those Ultras in a way that perhaps if he had more time, he would have had Ultras shooting at them all along. Maybe the Void Ray would have been focusing on the Ultra instead of a couple of Zerglings. So very, very important pickoff for Snute.
And the Ultra's just going to separate themselves up either way by the looks of things. Head on for some reason over to the goal base, I guess, just to check and make sure that nothing crazy is going on. But from this point, okay, he is setting up a big flank. Huh.
Even with Queens.
Even with Queens. They're not exactly the quickest to flanking units, but they'll do.
I've seen an SCV flank today, so.
Yeah, true. Yes, we have. Well, Snute at the moment has firm grasp of this game. Very difficult to seize it away. The Immortals can work wonders against the Ultras, sure, but if there's a lot of Lings as well...
This is a Proto scenario that I am extremely familiar with. I talk out of experience. You're like barely hanging in there on 130 supply. The Zerg has all the freedom in the world. He's been outmining a gold base and the entire map is covered in creep. And you have 0 map presence. You know, James, I've been in this scenario multiple times and I've never came out victorious.
That's a sad reality, unfortunately. If you keep trying and if you don't give up, eventually you will be victorious.
It turns out that StarCraft is a game where you actually have to see stuff on the map. And you need to have units all over the place to actually win games.
Damn. Oh, Void Ray, you are valiant, but you are also now dead.
Even when you're Protoss, you need to see stuff.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, but it's true. A couple feedbacks. Yeah, one. I felt like you could have got more. He gets a second feedback off there as well, but... I mean... I've seen bigger comebacks, so let's just put it at that. But it's not a pretty scenario for ShoWTimE to be in at all. ShoWTimE, I mean, Snute is just the entire map is covered in creep. Now this warp prism is going to be very easy to deal with. Look at this infrastructure, by the way, that ShoWTimE got on 3 bases. He's triple roboing right now.
Jeez.
Triple robo, double Stargate, fleet beacon.
That's kind of impressive.
This is the reason why people hate Protoss.
That's kind of impressive, to say the least. He's going to try and warp in here, but... Oh. That was almost comical. I didn't see the little Viper. Oh, that was funny.
I truly wish there was a sound animation every single time the Viper would do that. You know, Scorpion of Mortal Kombat. Get over here!
It'd be way better, actually, I think.
It would be so intimidating. Everybody would make Vipers.
Yeah.
Just abduct for the sake of abducting.
Just pull your own things.
And you can maybe make your own animation so it will actually be the hook shot of Scorpion.
That would be... I bet somebody could do that.
Yeah, of course.
That'd be pretty... Oh, Snute?
No, that's...
Is this required?
No, it's not.
Oh!
I mean, then again, this army of ShoWTimE is starting to become extremely strong. So this is, again, of course, a great moment for Snute to actually make... Oh my god, he's so many zealots, though. Like, this army looks massive, but it's actually not... Like, Infestors are super good against this army. How many
zealots.
Look at the amount of Infestors. I would love to see a few more Vipers, but the 8 Infestors are extremely good against Zealot Immortal.
Oh, Lings somehow got in. Also Lings here. Not sure how they even...
Yeah, that's like they got dropped or something. But I know they didn't. They just ran by. It's probably a shift click, but it was very funny the way that they walked into the natural.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Fungal of them. Oh.
Well, that's pretty... Oh. You need to recall this one section out. Look at how he separated his mothership core. No! You needed to recall!
Nah, I don't think you ever want to recall just for Zealots, but it does really sting. First, Immortal gets abducted, so that one will get picked off immediately. I mean, Snute is handling this very well. He's losing quite a bit, though, but he's so rich. He has 5 Broodlords on the way, and, you know, almost nothing in his army shoots up.
Yeah.
He has, like, 3 Stalkers. He does land a Storm or 2, but these Broodlords should be able to clean it up. Good Fungals as well. Snute is actually dropping quite a bit in supply. He's remaxing on Lings, which, you know, is pretty great against the Immortals, but if 2 more Archons shows up, you're going to actually really regret that remax.
Who knew that exclusively Immortals couldn't actually do really well?
Yeah, unfortunately. Look at this one Archon. He's like, ah, I got you guys. No, it's like Immortals are like, Zealots, we didn't ask for Zealots. We needed some Stalkers or something.
There you go. GG. Snute will take game number 1 here in this best of 3. And almost a foregone conclusion for the last 10 minutes of that game, but funny nonetheless.
It's especially funny with the Immortals in the end. It's like, all right, backup is going to be your enemy mode, guys. Hang in there. No. And then you see like your backup. It's like when you get into like, imagine, you know, like you're in a really dark alley and your friends are like, backup is coming. And then like a bunch of children show up. It's
I was going to say, then I show up and you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, James, back up. Like, oh, I guess a guy who's like 6'4", you know, like, you send me James, like,
I'll get him.
I need Joe Miller over here or something, you know, like a big dude. Anyways, great game number 1 there by Snute. Very smart. Like, this is one of these games where you can truly see Snute had a plan. And, of course, he wanted to make Broodlords. But then ShoWTimE was thinking ahead of the plan. He's like, he's probably going to go Broodlord. So I'm going to go double Stargate, Fleet Beacon, and +1. And then Snute looked at it. It's like, well, in that case, I'm not going to make any Broodlords. That would be really stupid. Yep. Then ShoWTimE gets really broke and he's maxed out. And then Snute looks at it. It's like, well, you know, despite all the infrastructure you have, this is pretty all in. So now it would be a very good time to make Broodlords again. So very cool thought process there, and just an excellent read, excellent game sense by Snute. Really well done.
Yeah, and that means now he's 1 game away from advancing on to Shenzhen after probably, you know, facing up against that disappointment that he had against ShoWTimE, it's fair to say that Snute almost always goes into these European qualifiers considering himself one of, if not the favorite.
I mean, like, he should be looking at his track record as well. He's made it out of these qualifiers multiple times. And, you know, a lot of people on the Team Liquid forums as well, they were saying, like, oh, what a throw by Snute. And maybe it was a little bit of a throw, but I think ShoWTimE played extremely well in Game 3. And someone else in the live report thread, which I kind of forgot about in all the hype that that game brought along, Snute did get pretty unlucky in that game. Like, first with the supply depots, he was one bailing short on busting the ramp, and, like, then the game would have been over immediately. And later with that orbital, when he was killing the Muse, it was, like, 5 HP away from killing the orbital. So it was just, like, it's just one of those moments where it's just like, God, this is just not my game, you know? Like, all of these minor things that are often coin flips that you can't really calculate, nothing is going my way. Well, of course, he should be able to calculate how many bailings he needs to kill the depot, but, you know, something must have gone wrong over there. I don't know what it was.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
It definitely wasn't building army, though.
No, definitely not. Never is. Apart from in those really wacky 1 hour, 30-minute games where for some reason somebody takes it and then it still actually doesn't do anything because the armies are going to destroy everything very, very quickly. Okay, so we're good to go on to Coda. Looking at that, looking how that kind of played out, I mean, Vani Research Station for me is one of Snute's absolute best maps now anyway.
I totally agree. I think that is a map that obviously it sucks for ShoWTimE to lose. Nobody ever wants to go down 0-1 in the final deciding best of 3 of the day. But you look at that game and I kind of feel he's playing like gold bases. Like there are not a whole lot of Froze players out there who are a big fan of the gold bases. And the way that Snute has played it, you know, like he made a lot of units early on. ShoWTimE fended it off very well. Then he tried to go up to 4 bases while taking that base in the middle of the map. ShoWTimE denied that immediately with that one single safety void ray that he made. So you kind of feel like he was carrying a little bit of momentum, but then in the end it was still just like not good enough. While I think ShoWTimE played reasonably well up to that phase in the game. Got a little bit unfortunate with all the zealots he kept throwing at that hatchery, and you know, 1 HP. That's one of those things you can't calculate. It's like hit or miss. Sometimes you have to take a little bit of risk in your game. And on that moment, it didn't play out for him the way he wanted. But Coda, you know, just forget about Vani. Start from scratch. Consider this as a best of 3, which you have to win 2-0, and he has done it before. Last time they played, it was 2-0 for ShoWTimE, so it's possible.
Yeah, it is. All right, so let's get into things. As Snute at the moment.
What is that? What is that icon of ShoWTimE? Sorry, James. What?
The Immortal?
Yeah, but like, what kind of Immortal is that? That's not the standard Immortal. He has a really cool portrait.
It's the newest, like, because there's 2 Immortals, right? Yeah. And it's the newer one through the leveling system.
But how do you get it?
Level up.
Yeah, that's all. Damn it, I need to play more ladder.
What? Are you trolling me?
No, I probably have.
You're testing me, aren't you? I see.
No, like I didn't know. No, I'm not testing you. I really didn't know how to get it. I probably have it. I've just never seen it.
Yeah, I think you have it, definitely.
I still use the Diablo from the Wings of Liberty. Diablo. You know, like the Diablo Marine. It's, it's such a badass emoticon. It's like, ah. All right, anyways, we're live. Coda, game number 2. Let's go ahead and jump into the game, as this could potentially be our final game of the day. We hope that you guys enjoyed our coverage of the Intel Extreme Masters qualifier Shenzhen. The main event is happening
mid-July.
Mid-July. James, this is your job.
It's sometime around there.
16 to 18.
Perfect. There you go.
I have no idea, actually. It was a guess.
What? I would have guessed 14 to 16.
Yeah, that could be true.
Okay.
Mid-July.
Mid-July, yeah. we're roundabouts.
It's going to be a lot of fun, of course. The setup is the same as most Intel Extreme Masters events out there. Half of the field will get invited, half of it will qualify. That is correct?
I think it's for
4 invites, right? And then 12...
4 invites, 8 through qualifiers, 4 through open bracket.
Yeah. Now, open bracket is kind of a qualifier to me as well.
Yeah.
A qualifier on location where we'll probably see the best of the Chinese scene go up against each other once again, which is always fun because that scene has quite a few good players. Even though if I want to be very critical, I was a little bit disappointed because I kind of felt that the Chinese players, they stagnated a little bit, like they stopped improving. When they bursted onto the scene, it was really promising and they got a couple of great victories, you know, Jim, Maxet. Back then you had the Terran as well, I forgot his name. What was his name?
XY?
Yeah, XY, you know, like he was catching a little bit of momentum. And of course, you know, later on we got Tutming and I had Son and we had... what's the other legendary? Jigua, you know, he was around. Yeah. So it always felt like, man, like those guys, they can really perhaps get to the next level, take that next step. But it never really happened. Hopefully for Jim, it happens right now after he's practicing with the Pro League boys. Yeah,
there's a few of them over there, right? Actually,
Maxet maybe as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's like the IG Prime Alliance thing. I don't know. And I think AI, or however you call it, I say Ionsu.
Yeah, but
does he prefer being called AI?
Yeah,
or?
I asked him. I was like, "Hey, how do you want us to call you?" He's like, "It doesn't really matter." I was like, kind of does matter, man, because if I mispronounce it, then everyone on the interwebs gets really mad at me and they say terrible things about me and my family." He's like, AI. I was like, "Just AI? No ISO? No ISO. AI." I was like, "Okay, AI it is." I can live with that. Like, that's not so hard.
It helps. Yeah.
Can't mispronounce AI, you know. Like, every single time you say Jigo, I was like, "Oh my God, he's mispronouncing this Chinese word." It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not flawless in Chinese. I'm fluent.
Exactly. But oh well, that's the internet for you. But for now, ShoWTimE's going to try and run away with the probe. He actually spotted the fact that it was hatchery opener. Sorry, spawning pool opener, I should say.
Yeah, it was a relatively early pool as well. I felt right. It was a little bit earlier than a standard 15 pool, so I kind of felt like maybe you want to make a couple Zerglings. We were not paying attention, but 4 links have been produced, nothing more, nothing less. Snute just doesn't want to worry about anything weird, anything crazy. And ShoWTimE does have the tendency to every now and then throw in a cannon rush or two.
Yep. Also, he has tendencies to go for some crazy 2-base plays as well. ShoWTimE is a very well-rounded Protoss.
Yeah.
We've seen him do lots of things.
It's really fun because you see him play like 3-4 very standard, solid, straight-up macro games, and you kind of just think that this is his go-to style, and then he just busts out a very weird, random 2-base all-in. But because people don't expect it of ShoWTimE, like it works extremely well. Then you go to ladder and you're like, oh man, I just need that one promotion. I'm going to do ShoWTimE's build. He beat Snute with it. And then like you lose against his mid-master Zerg and you're like, ah.
Damn. But no, I've got to say, actually, like these qualifiers, normally I end up doing them with Sean, but it's been very fun having you here, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll make sure to let Sean know. Make sure to let everyone out there, make sure to let Sean know. Kalaris was having an absolute blast with Rotterdam. Did not miss Apollo a single bit.
I'm not sure. Fine, whatever. Well, for now, ShoWTimE's moving out with his Stalker and his Mothership Core. And this Ling is going to go back in, have a little look around potentially. But actually, the Mothership Core is on patrol. So denying the information is always nice.
Yeah, Snute didn't really see a whole lot yet, but there isn't really anything to see at 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Most of the time, you know, between 6:20 and 6:50, I would say that's when you can really pick up on a key of what Protoss truly wants today. If it's a 3 or 4 gate aggression, if there is a quick force, if there is a Twilight, if there is a Stargate. Sometimes the Stargate is a little bit quicker if they want to go for a very greedy version, but those are often very easy to spot because then there are no units out there, so then you can just send the Overlord in because you know that he's been skipping out on the units.
Where are these Lings going? This is quite a few Lings. I wasn't expecting 10 or so, but I think he maybe been a little bit cautious about that Stalker and Mothership Core moving out.
Yeah, because it had the idea that he was like hiding something, right? It's like, what are you hiding? Are you hiding 6 or 7 gates? It's very often, you know, you watch a series like this or you watch a game and you just like, on this moment, you're looking at your second screen, you're looking at your main screen, there's like nothing going on. But if you're a player in this game, there are 5, 10, 15 things going through your mind about what your opponent could be potentially doing. Because any given moment it can be too late, you know, missing up a pylon, and then later on we would be the first like, oh, I can't believe he didn't scout that pylon, you know. So as a Zerg you want to be very cautious, especially in this matchup, as I've always felt Protoss with Zerg is about Protoss trying to do something and Zerg react to it, or Zerg, you know, kind of trying to deal with whatever Protoss wants to do. But this is a little different. This is a very unique Zerg style. We've seen it multiple times, the double Roach Warren on Coda.
Yeah, so double upgrades and then obviously getting the burrow at the hatchery is something that can really catch people off guard. You don't quite often get up against these times. A lot of what we see from European Protoss at the moment is a lot of sentries, Twilight Council, get some Stalkers as base, Blink on the way, and then later on at the Robo facility.
Yeah, you're spot on. That is literally the most popular style right now in PvZ when it comes to the top Protosses in Europe, as we call it, the baguette style, the French PvZ, you name it, they're doing it, and they have been doing it for a while. Of course, it happens in Korea or over there in Korea as well. But, you know, with this style, the robotics facility is pretty damn late. Right now, I feel like this is even a little bit quicker than some of the other guys drop it, but this is a... Did he spot the second?
He spotted them.
Yeah,
okay. Both.
So that's why he just immediately made the robotics facility, because normally they make like a few more gateways before they drop the robo. The best thing you can do about this is obviously you get immortals and you get safety cannons. You really need safety cannons in your natural, and he's getting 2 of them, and he's getting a backup pylon as well. I like this so far. Great scouting by ShoWTimE, and so far he's handling this well, but this is only half of it. Like, preparing for a build is one thing, but then executing your defense, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of roaches you're going up against, basically, and even without these upgrades, they're still very potent. Maybe not so much without the Clear Reconstitution, but without the upgrade, the Stonelink Claw upgrade, they're still very potent, so you've got to be kind of careful about this.
Yep, the fourth hatchery going down as well on the left bottom side of the map for Snute, but I think at first he will be doing nothing but streaming a ridiculous amount of roaches across the map for the next few minutes. But, you know, as soon as it gets shot down the first time, if Protoss player like absolutely stabilizes once, then they will stabilize forever, and that's kind of like red alert situation immediately for Liquid Snute, because then it's gonna be like, oh well, now I'm stuck on roach stack, I don't really have anything else going for myself. He's making one drone and an infestation pit, so I think he was kind of worried after the after that Phoenix scouted it very quickly, and he knows that ShoWTimE is probably going to be relatively well prepared for this. This is the first time that the roaches will pick up this ramp. Force fields go down immediately. He spots these cannons. He's like, all right, it's not going to happen over here, but he's going to try to unburrow on top of all those sentries, and now the Immortals are zoned out.
Oh, this could go pretty well for him. He's going to continue on against this. He knows that there's not that much firepower here. Actually, he's going to focus down the Nexus. He's just going to go straight for the Nexus. This could be an extremely ballsy move.
Yeah.
And that's going to fall. This denies a little bit of damage. And oh my god.
And now actually, oh my god, he's forcing the recall as well, which allows Snute to take down these cannons. He's going to be able to unpower the gateways, and I feel like that is almost game over.
Yeah, what a move.
Wow, I almost felt that Snute like orchestrated this entire play by picking up the main ramp, and he's like, hey, please drop some force fields so your Immortals will be stuck in your natural. I mean, maybe he didn't think about it exactly like that, but that is the logical thing to happen, right? Protoss players will always force field, then these roaches will burrow, and Snute just unburrows everything towards the third base, and he just goes for it. I really did not feel that I felt that ShoWTimE should have tried to fight over there. Like, I know it's hard, but I think if his reinforcements would have made their way over there, I think he would have at least cleaned up the majority of these roaches. Instead, he tries to save the sentries, but in my opinion, by saving the sentries, you put yourself in a super all-in position right now.
Yeah. The thing is for me is that it's not, the most impressive thing was how decisive he was about it.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't hesitate in the burrow, he just went for it straight away. So when you don't hesitate, the window for that you can actually do that increases because the force fields are at the ramp at the natural and blocking out the Immortals, and just diving in like that just really exploits very quickly. That was very cool.
Don't you feel that ShoWTimE maybe could have dropped additional waves of force fields, which makes it impossible for all of these roaches to unburrow as close to the Nexus as they did?
I think so.
Like, if he forces out more force fields, that means that, or if he pushes out more force fields, that means that the roaches will have to tunnel further and further and further. And even when they unburrow, you can drop more force fields. Yeah, it buys time.
Yeah.
And I think like then the cannons and the photon overcharge, and I think then maybe it will be a lot harder, because Snute had a ridiculous amount of surface area to work on that Nexus, which I think normally should not be possible.
And almost all the units that were here weren't really firing at the roaches. They were just kind of idle and stood there and just not really doing anything. And only by the time the Nexus had fallen, he had to evacuate out. But now this has opened up a massive window here for Snute, where he has all the tools available to him that he needs. He has all the economy he needs.
Now, the only very good thing for ShoWTimE is that he did save all the probes. Yes, he lost the pylons, he lost gateways, he lost the Nexus, lost the assimilators. That all hurts, but he saved the probes. It's not like he also lost 20 probes in the process, because that would have just been horrible. You know, if that would have happened, you could have just tapped out, and then congratulations, Snute, you're going to China once more. Now I feel there's still a tiny bit of hope, because he's going to have +3 attack real soon. He's going to have Storm, great against Hydras. He's going to have Immortal, great against Roaches. So, and of course he has High Templars to feedback the Vipers as well. So, it is still doable for ShoWTimE, but obviously you got to be happy if you're Snute.
He's putting him in a really horrible position with just one Roach alone. Having to bounce back and forth and be a little bit wary on that right-hand side, but the entire army is amassing, and it's going to have Vipers with this, Hydras with this.
And Hephaestus.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how he's supposed to win.
Yeah, feedbacks, force field feedback Storm. I mean, it is doable. If you watch in 7 more Stalkers, I absolutely believe it's doable. But he needs feedbacks. But there are 4 Vipers.
Those feedbacks were pretty good, though, to be honest. He's going to fall back just slightly here.
Oh, those Storms are massive as well. The Fungal is great, too, and the Blinding Cloud as well.
Yeah, tries to get quite a few of those units on the left-hand side. They're also actually fungal down. Some of those sentries have a lot of energy left. And ShoWTimE with a brilliant hold, though. Oh, my God. I think Snute might have just been a bit overzealous there with how he was trying to end it.
Yeah, it's a really difficult army, because ShoWTimE basically had an answer to every unit that Snute had in his composition. Of course, the combination of Blinding Cloud and Fungal is always very scary, but it's one of these things it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
This is my most frustrating moment in PvZ, by the way. He's right, like me and Todd, we had a huge giggle about this, because every Protoss player can identify it. It's like, you send a probe, and then like Nexus, like, and then you look back 20 seconds later, it's like, I must have misclicked. And then you try it again, it's like, burrow, I hate it.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating when that happens.
It is annoying. This probe now is being guarded by quite the squadron, so he'll stick around for now. And wait, did he not? He doesn't have an observer. I didn't even realize.
It's so frustrating.
It must have died during Fungals, because I'm pretty sure he had one before. Anyway.
Not sure, but possible. I mean, he did use a double fungal on top of the sentries.
Yeah, yeah.
Snute is dropping his Ultralisk Cavern, but the problem is he doesn't have the upgrades that Ultras need normally to be extremely scary. +2 is about to finish up, that's going to help out a little bit, but of course there are already Immortals in the mix. Like, this is just a very scary army for Zergs to face. You know, like, what is best against this? Hydras are good as long as they can survive the storms. And right now, I must say, ShoWTimE is actually quite low on High Templars. I would like to see him maybe have another High Templar or two.
Yeah, 4 or so at the moment. Whoa, that's a big warp in. Oh, good denial of the warp in though with that Viper toad.
Yeah.
Very well done.
That's actually going to save his hatchery.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
We're back there again.
That's actually a great move. If you would have asked me before I just saw that, like, hey, what happens to warpers that's swapping in units is being abducted, I would be like, it might be interrupted. Like, I wasn't exactly sure, you know, like maybe they finish on location, but well done there by Snute. Great abduct. He's going to try to flank this army. He's coming in from a lot of angles.
Not too bad. Storms pinned out the Lings on the left-hand side, but can he?
Hydras.
He's actually pinned out a lot of the army on the right-hand side, but the Hydras down the mid are doing a lot of damage here.
Yeah, that's a great engagement. And like I said, I would have liked to see a couple of extra High Templars, man. He really needed a few more Storms to deal with his Hydras. I think in the end, ShoWTimE will still win this fight, though. But it's safe to say that Snute traded out way better than I think he could have dreamed of with that army that he was sitting on.
Yeah. Oh, the token infested Terrans going to have to be aided there to actually get the retreat on out. He needs more units. The blink forwards here.
He's making a lot of Zerglings, and ShoWTimE has to be a little bit careful. Of course, Stalkers can deal well with Zerglings, but you need to be tucked in a little corner or still have a couple of force fields. I didn't even see that one sentry was hidden, man.
All right,
Tiny
so
little guy.
where is he? Oh, he's over there. Oh yeah, he does well for himself.
He's the MVP, like he's like many of my brothers have fallen, but I will survive. I would say he is the protector of the realm right here.
He saved many of his brothers from falling, basically. Good stuff. 6 Ultralisks about to pop, and there are 3 Immortals. Uh-oh. I mean, Blink against Ultralisks can do okay, but it depends on what's following up the Ultralisks as well.
Yeah, right now I feel like ShoWTimE's army is not good enough against 6-7 Ultras, even though they don't have 3-3 upgrades, but they will have kindness plating. He just blinked forward. That's such a risky blink.
Yeah.
Like, in general, I would never recommend anyone to just blink forward on creep without knowing what you're blinking into. That could have been disastrous.
Yep.
Imagine if Snute was sitting there with a fungal and then Zerglings and Ultras just wrap around. He would have lost 7, 8, 9 Stalkers.
This force field against this Ultra composition.
Hey man, that sentry is hanging in there like a champ.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
I want to know the over on the line if the sentry makes it to the end of the game.
Well, he's got 2 kills as well for himself, so he's doing okay. Even if it's 2 Lings, it's still 2 kills.
I don't think he's going to make it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it either.
If he does, then he's an absolute hero. Then he deserves a Medal of Honor.
The thing is that now, how does ShoWTimE combat this next army that's going to come along? Because there's going to be 6 extra Broodlords in this army as well as the Ultralisks.
So what I really like about the way that Snute is playing this is that in the old days, whenever a Zerg players made a couple of Ultras, they would be like, all right, my Ultras are out, let's fight, you know? And then they run across the map and then the Ultras like do some damage, but they don't actually win the game. And then like the next wave of Ultras just gets shut down and then everyone's like, Ultra, great unit, yada, 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 you know? Let's complain about the design of the Ultra. But the Zerg these days, they just became a lot smarter about it. It's like, yeah, I got Ultras, and I will fight with them if I have to, but why would I just rally them across the map into the death if I can't win the game? Why not use these Ultras as a way for my Broodlords to survive? But that is really good timing there. He snipes his 2 Broodlords before the battle starts. Very unfortunate timing there for Snute. 2 of them did finish up, so he has 2 Broodlords, and I don't think you want to blink up there, ShoWTimE.
Not at all. You would be going to your death if you blink up there. So now he has to prepare against, or has to craft this composition or this engagement against Ultras and Broodlords. How many do we have? We have 4 Broodlords. Is there a window here where Snute can do something with this army, or does he have to sit back and defend?
Yeah, it's definitely hard, but I do think he has to do something because, like, yeah, if you get all the answers as Protoss, the Protoss army will be better than this Zerg army. These Storms are doing quite a bit of damage. Blinding Cloud is connecting with a lot of these units, though. The Immortals were derping. They were moving forward, so these Ultras are having the time of their life standing on top of them. And I felt that was a good exchange for Snute.
Dear. Yeah, I think so as well. Lings are going to follow this up. I think that Snute's probably going to try and chase down with this. The Stargate's on the way, but...
Why no Archon?
No, actually he catches some more ultras.
Yeah, I mean, like, the problem with this army from Snute is that some of his units are extremely fast and some of them are extremely slow. So it's really hard to chase an army because before you know it, you're fighting with only half your army. And Protoss will turn around. And of course, Blink gives you an excellent chase opportunity.
All right, so evens things up again, kind of. ShoWTimE is keeping his economy pretty stable behind this. A lot of High Templars warped in as well, so Archons and Extra Storms are definitely a thing of the future.
He definitely needed a couple of Archons because Zerglings, Broodlings just made his life so much harder than it should have been. That's when you want to have those Archons. And of course, it's some additional anti-air to fall back on as well. And they are great against the Ultras. Basically, the Archon is great against everything right now.
Do you think that these links that we see from Snute are even going to be useful at all in the next fight? Should he not send these maybe to go for a counter-attack or something?
How many links do we have? 32. It's not that many, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I would probably recycle them. But I think he's worried that if he loses all those links right now, that ShoWTimE attacks him, and he's not ready for it. This, I think, is a good position for Brood Lords as soon as the Hydras are there as well. Look at these Hydras just tearing apart these Archons.
Yeah.
Well done.
Nice Storm actually caught some of the Broodlings as well as some of the lings at the right-hand side.
ShoWTimE is making this too easy on Snute at the moment. Like, he should play a little more passive, a little more boring, and just wait it out. Like, the ball is in Snute's corner, because yes, super late game, Protoss is going to be better than Zerg. I think these super late game armies of Zerg are very hard to fight, you know, when there are Vipers and Ultras and Infestors and Broodlords.
Yeah.
But that's because I have limited skill. I know that about myself. But guys like ShoWTimE, they know how to deal with armies like that. So I kind of feel that ShoWTimE is like, he's playing this little off base. He's going for a blink there. That's a questionable blink. Well, he does get 2 Broodlords.
Oh, nice Storms will actually thin out the numbers at the front, though. But at the same time, can he even combat these Broodlords as well as the Hydralisk? They're doing quite a bit of work. Morlings are going to flood in. Here come the Vipers.
Oh my god, I'm not sure about that blink. I think that's a disaster blink.
Straight into, he didn't realise the Vipers were there, and he blinks forwards into his absolute death. I mean, the supplies are quite close, but with the reinforcements coming along here from Snute and the Broodlords not dying, he blinks basically into the jaws of defeat.
Oh, that was a meat grinder. Whew. Okay, well now these Broodlords are still in a very awkward position. This time I think these Stalks will be able to do a little bit better. But there are more Zerglings streaming across the map. The Hydras are pushing the army on the right side away as well. One Broodlord survives with like 1 HP again.
This keeps happening.
Man, yeah, this actually does keep happening for ShoWTimE. He's getting very unfortunate in this series.
And now this opens up this base. I mean, I'm not sure how he's really going to be able to stop this. He doesn't really have that much of an army, and if the extra Zerglings come along to complement this, or any extra unit comes along to complement this.
Didn't he have a Stargate? He does have a Stargate. I wonder why he just why was he so overly prepared on Vani, and this time he just refuses to make a Tempest, while he actually has a much better economy, and this is like, you know, a much more standard scenario to squeeze in a Tempest or 2 or 3 or 4.
I was going to say, I guess he couldn't, it didn't feel as if he could afford the gas, but he had a Dark Shrine on the way, so that kind of takes away that.
Yeah, now he's getting a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon. I just felt it was a little bit too late, and he gave Snute the opportunity to fight an army that Snute would have loved to fight and could have only dreamed of, and this Broodlord count soon is going to be too high to actually deal with Stalkers. Well, he should have already had a Tempest or 2 out on the map right now.
Whoa, this whole army went down to the bottom left to get this base and can easily just get out of here if he really wants to.
And at the same time, there are Zealots killing that hatchery as well in the middle of the map. Very well done here by ShoWTimE. Buying time for his Tempest and actually getting something out of it.
He's gotta go soon, surely. Snute has to. I mean, this army, it can't just be dancing around the map forever and ever and ever.
No, this is really bad right now for Snute, and ShoWTimE has just done a great job in not only, you know, like denying one hatchery, but also killing the other one, which is pretty much the only mining base for Snute. Because if you take a look at his other bases, Snute is mined out. Like, there's nothing there. Nothing in the natural, nothing in the third, you know, there's like a couple hundred minerals left at best. Snute right now doesn't even have, well, he has enough money for 1 more hatch. So these Broodlords will start pushing, but I feel like as soon as there are 2 Tempest out, then I think, well, Snute does have his Queens here, right? Correct? So maybe 2 Tempest is not going to be the game changer that it once upon a time was. But if we're looking into 4 or 5 Tempests, this hatchery, oh my god, the hatchery almost died again.
Oh dear. But now he is pushing on forwards. He needs to, I still felt he could have gone before with this army being as small and lackluster as it was, but well, he needs to make sure. Oh, nice grab.
Nice, very nice abduct there. He gets a Tempest. That is great.
Yeah.
Because Tempest is definitely, like in the old days, you needed 3 Broodlords. Oh, there's a Dark Templar somewhere.
Yeah, they're going ham down towards the natural. They just killed off the expansion.
Okay, so these DTs are going to kill everything, but that...
Yeah.
Snute does not know about the right top side of the map, and this is a really big deal, because now Snute probably thinks like, okay, I'm mined out, you're mined out, but Snute, he has a base on the right top side of the map, and that changes everything. Snute is not aware of that.
kill off these Dark Templars and go again. You're going to just have to be on your
He
opponent's
needs
side
to
of the
kill
map.
that base. Like, he doesn't have to kill anything else, but I mean, let's not forget that ShoWTimE lost his third base in an early stage in this game.
Very early.
So he actually has way more resources left there than Snute had.
Yep. And I can't believe he's been able to hang in this game, considering how early he lost that.
I mean, it's more than hanging in right now. He's winning it.
Yeah.
I mean, with 4 Tempests, I absolutely think he's winning it. Like, something has to go terribly wrong. All that ShoWTimE has to do is land 2 feedbacks, and the game is over. He should win.
Yeah. Just get those Vipers, man. If you can do that, all is good.
Yeah, where are they right now? Okay, they are trailing. How many High Templars we're looking at? 4. Okay, Snoot's gonna find. He's gonna send his Zerglings there. So this is kind of gonna force these Stalkers are gonna blink forward right now. I think Storm's gonna go down, landing on the Vipers as well.
And how many Broodlords can he kill off? Some of them are very,
Actually,
very weak.
not
I don't
that
think they're
many.
gonna die that quickly.
Oh god.
Uh-oh.
Is ShoWTimE losing this right now?
There's only 1 Tempest left over to kill off all of these Broodlords. There's 6 of them in the back here, and I don't think he can kill it off in time.
What?
The Broodlings are going to do the business.
Wow, I cannot believe that Snute is pulling this one through. He was not mining anything anymore. He was down in supply, and he was down 2 bases, basically. He was able to kill 1 of them immediately, but I thought it was an okay sacrifice for ShoWTimE.
I think the focus fire was off for some of the Tempests for a while, and now only having 1 left available, it's not enough.
No, he's down to 65 supply. It really felt that this was ShoWTimE's game to lose. He had High Templars. He had 4 or 5 Tempests out. He had a lot of Blink Stalkers with +3. I can't believe this went so horribly wrong for him.
Yeah, now the Stalkers are actually going to try and chase down these. Oh no, he doesn't want to go. I mean, there's too much ground army. There's too much base to this.
Like, I know ShoWTimE was in a little bit of a need of money as well, but I always think that between your 2nd and your 3rd Tempest, you should try to make an Oracle, because Tempest with, you know, the combination of Revelation just become 100 times more powerful and useful.
Yeah, and ShoWTimE at this point is having to just scramble for any kind of answer. He does not want to leave the game. This is the only way he's going to get to Shenzhen into group stage directly. So he's got to somehow battle on against this. But he's lost his base up to the top right. This is his only lifeline that remains. This base to the left.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way. Like, Snute is slowly but steady re-establishing his base in the left, the bottom side of the map as well. It's been an absolute phenomenal day of StarCraft, and I was pretty much convinced we were going to see one more game before that fight happened. Like, that was Snute's do-or-die moment. He was being outmined, and, you know, the more time you give a Protoss to prepare for your army, often the stronger the Protoss army will be. And ShoWTimE has definitely made a couple of blunders. Like, let's not forget about that blink in the middle of the map. Like, oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
Blinking into Hydras, Zerglings, and Blinding Cloud below 3 Broodlords. It's like, ouch.
I just didn't expect the Vipers being in the wings, waiting for the opportunity, or at least they were just joining the fight. So one could say that Snute was a little bit fortunate in that timing, but they were there when they needed to be, and that's how it goes in StarCraft.
I mean, Snute has obviously played a great qualifier once more,
Yeah.
but I did feel we get a little bit fortunate in this series, and this is one of those games, like StarCraft is of course a game of skill and not a game of luck, but every now and then, you know, units or buildings surviving with 1 HP or dying, you can't really contribute all of that to skill. Sometimes you need a little bit of lady luck on your side, and I feel there's like a lot of things went Snute's way, but ShoWTimE has obviously made a couple of blunders, and he can look himself into the mirror as well, knowing that this was not a game that he had to lose anymore.
And that's the remaining Tempest falling. There's not much left here for ShoWTimE. He is not mining a single thing apart from a little bit of gas. Did he just... Oh, okay, he's pulling forward any unit. It doesn't really matter at this point. Storm drops again. Snute's going to not blindly walk into it, but there you go. GG, Snute qualifies for the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen, and that makes our 2 players here moving forward from the Europe region.
Yep, the Dutch Terran U-Thermal was able to win the winner bracket, and Snute was able to battle through, well, not really the lower bracket, as he only had 1 series there, but battle through the deciders match after taking, you know, kind of like a tough loss in game number 3 against U-Thermal, so that really does show a lot of character once more by Snute, and let's not forget that this is a really big victory for Snute as well. We kind of expect him to make it through qualifiers like this, but especially after that rough WCS Season 2 he had, I think this is a very welcoming gift.
Yeah, he's going to be happy going over to Shenzhen again. He was there last time, and I think there was even small featurettes about him when we were over there, but it was good stuff. So a big congratulations to you, Thermal, once again, for doing as well as he has done today, and obviously the powerhouse that is Snute gets through here again. So congratulations to those 2 guys. That pretty much does it for us here today.
Maybe for the people who have just joined in, we can take a final look at the bracket if you want to, just to go over a couple of the results and give some credits where credits are due, as a lot of these players have been battling their hearts out. It was funny as well. In the start of the day, all the players join in the public channel on Bet.net, and they you see like the messages they exchange, and they're like, "Good luck, Warriors," to each other.
Yeah.
I think actually UThermal was the one who said that, and in the end, he was the one true warrior.
He did really well, really well. So let's take a quick look at the bracket to re-jog your memories. As we can see, UThermal's victorious run here through Little Bow, Bunny, ShoWTimE, and finally Snute. What a run! One of the best runs we've actually seen here from a European in
against fellow Europeans. Like
yeah.
That's pretty much as difficult as you're gonna make it. Of course, you could maybe like place Mana in a Protoss slot of Lil Bao or ShoWTimE, but that doesn't really change all that much. It's a stunning run by UThermal, and I don't think anybody would have predicted him to battle through all four. Like, I think for most people, UThermal would have been the underdog in every series there he played. Maybe against ShoWTimE you could say 50-50, but I think against Lil Bao, with the pass that he had, probably people would put Lil Bao above him. People would definitely put Bunny above UThermal, and probably people would probably still put Snute above UThermal as well. So a great story.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Well done to him. Going on to Shenzhen, and obviously with Snute then eventually dropping down to the lower bracket.
Who did Snute beat all today? Goody 2-1, Targa 2-0, and Happy. Of course, Snute had to work so hard for that victory against Happy as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, looking at those runs, I would argue UThermal has definitely had the more impressive run here compared to Snute.
I think most people would agree with that. But, of course, it's still great by Snute that he does battle through once again. A lot of 2-1s there. But in the end, Snute does what we expect him to do. And I think that is sometimes a very underrated achievement, because it's a lot, it's a lot easier said than done. Like, people always just expect people like players like Bunny and Snute, like, they should make it through. But that is so hard. That brings on a lot of extra pressure as well. And that's why I'm so impressed with Bunny's consistency in WCS, because, we expect him to do well, but he keeps on doing well. And the same goes normally for Snute, other than this season. And I think that's actually one of the most impressive things, when players win, when you expect them to win, like, that's not easy in StarCraft.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, guys. A huge thank you for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you these games. Thank you very much, Mr. Rotterdam, for driving over here to give me a hand here with the casting.
That was a lot of fun. I must say I'm ridiculously hungry, because the last thing I ate was breakfast at 8:30, and we do had 2 wine gums, I guess.
Wine gums.
So
that's about it.
That is more than 12 hours ago, pretty much. Oh. So I'm gonna eat a nice German schnitzel with a lot of sauce on the side. It's gonna be great.
All right.
Gains.
Gains. Thanks very much for tuning in, guys. A huge thank you to just everybody who's been able to catch some of these games. It's been a lot of fun. And we'll see you next time for more StarCraft action.